do it and what happens when we do. Something I've found is that in any interaction, if we want a real conversation to happen, someone has to get vulnerable first. One person paves the way for others. And it's really scary to be that first person. And I think the reason for this is, I think we walk around, you could think of it with glass shields up all the time. It's like the boundary between ourselves and someone else. And we need it because if we're constantly bumping into each other with our skin raw, we'll get overwhelmed by our own emotions. We get affected by everything. We don't have choice. I've been in states like this sometimes after workshops, and it's really intense. I think people always walk around with some degree of sensitivity, some more than others. So I feel care for those who naturally don't have much of a glass shield, or those who have so much of one that they really can't feel others or let others in. So we're always interacting with someone with various degrees of glass shield. And if I get vulnerable, the other person has three choices. They can either lower their blast shield and get vulnerable with me, which could be like if someone asks how I'm doing, and I say, actually, I'm having a really rough day. They could lower their blast shields and they could say, oh man, that sounds difficult. How's it been for you? Or tell me more. Or, actually, I really am too. That's lowering the blast shield. They could choose to keep their blast shield up, which could be like, that sounds tough. I'm okay. Or they could actually open fire, which would be something like, I don't know why you told me that. Or, wow, sucks to be you. Some form of blaming, shaming, pushing away. And I think the reason this happens is when someone gets vulnerable, our blast shield comes down sometimes without us really expecting it. It's the empathetic response. And so all of a sudden I'm feeling something in connection with you, and I may not have chosen to feel that. Or I'm given something that I actually don't know how to react to. And I think there's two reasons why this is scary. One is lack of control. If you get vulnerable, all of a sudden the conversation is in a realm that I may not know how to deal with. And I don't have a roadmap, I don't have the reins anymore, I try to get back to a normal place. Or I'm suddenly feeling something that I don't know how to deal with or I don't want to. And I try to push that emotion away and put my shield back up. Alternately, I could feel unsafe. This can come from not knowing your motivation for sharing honesty. Oftentimes, if we've grown up with, for instance, narcissistic parents or parents and environments that just weren't as safe, vulnerability may have looked like a way to get in, it may have looked like a way to gain sympathy, it may have looked like passive communication, something that basically made it more unsafe for us to respond. And so we've learned to close down, or to assume that the other person's motivation is to manipulate us, to hurt us, something like that. It also could be that we've had, some form of past experience, even after childhood, of having someone else get vulnerable with you as a tool, as a motivation. So, there's a couple of tools I want to give for how to make vulnerability more safe to reveal and to accept. One is to pre-frame, and this basically means before sharing something vulnerable, to let the other person know it's coming and give them choice. This is how to address the issue of control, which is basically something like, hey, can I share something vulnerable with you? Or if someone asks how you are, you could say, can I be honest with you? These are ways of setting the other person up and letting them say yes or no in such a way that they know that you're about to say something. This can also be even giving them choice about when they hear it. Like, hey, I'd love to talk to you about something that feels a little intense or intimate for me. Do you have time some point today? And let them choose it. So that's one thing, and I find I get much better reactions when I do that. The second one is to give a motivation or why for your vulnerability. Hey, how are you? I could say good, but I really want to give you an honest answer. So that's a why, and then you could say something honest. Or it could be, I really want to be honest with you because this is the only time I think we're going to see each other today, and I want to have like a genuine interaction. Is that okay with you? That's also giving control. Or I want to feel closer with you. Can I share something vulnerable? That accesses the other person's choice and sense of empathy in a way that isn't as dangerous because it accesses like the lower level where we share motivations as well as emotions. And the last one is after you share something, relate or check in. So oftentimes, I actually do this. Like if a cashier asks, "How are you?" and I'm having a bad day, I might say, like, "Actually, I'm having a difficult time today. I'm curious, like, you seem like you're at the end of your shift. Like, are you energized or are you also kind of tired?" And basically, I'm inviting them, I'm sharing, like, hey, I acknowledge that I said something vulnerable that may be out of the ordinary, and I'm going to connect it to you. I'm going to offer a bit of an invitation to give you a roadmap on how to respond. And that's really what this is. It's saying, here's a way that you can respond to me that might allow you to be vulnerable without putting you out in the ocean, which some people know how to deal with and some people don't. So those are a couple of tools. I hope this helps in some way. It was interesting to think through.